In Unit 5, you'll learn to understand chronological orders of events discussed in a text. We'll take a look at what this reading skill is and how to apply it in the Paper 1 exam. You may ask, why do we need to understand chronological orders in a text? We do this because it can help us form a mental image of the ideas in the text. When we look at the order in which events take place in a text, it's important to know that there are different types of sequences. Sometimes, events will be presented in a chronological order, meaning from the earliest event to the events that take place later. Sometimes, a sequence will begin with the latest or most recent event, and then take readers back to earlier events. There are also times when the order is non-linear, meaning the order of events does not follow a straightforward pattern, and there are many flashbacks and flash-forwards jumping in the timeline. Let's see how we can decide on the chronological order of events by taking a look at a passage. In this passage, you can see some words and phrases signaling the sequence of some events. The first one, begins by, is used to talk about the showing of a tiny stove on a video. Immediately following this clause, the word then is used to signal the event that follows, namely the showing of a pot of water. 2 lines down, the word soon signifies a short time after, and tells us that the next event that happened was the water being boiled. In the next line, we see the phrase proceed to, which describes the action that follows, namely, prepare 2 minuscule servings of coffee, which is described in detail in the next 2 lines. After that description, we see the word then, which is used to signify when the video ended. Let's look at another passage. Again, you can see some words and phrases signaling the sequence of some events. The first word here, invented, is a bit different from the ones we saw in the previous slide. This is a verb that tells you when something came into existence in the world. This tells you about the beginning of something, and in this case, the beginning of pizza. Next, we see the verb changed, which means something went from being one form to a different form. In this case, the pizza changed in shape and contents. After that, we see the adverb then, telling us that after the pizza's shape and contents had been changed in America, it was spread around the world. Let's see how we can use this reading skill, understanding chronological order, to answer a reading comprehension question on the Paper 1 exam. Here's a question asking you to arrange some events in the order in which they appear in a video. We have seen the relevant passage earlier. The video first shows a tiny stove, then a pot of water. After that, the water is boiled, and then 2 servings of coffee are prepared by pouring hot water through coffee grounds. And lastly, the video ends. Notice that not all of the steps mentioned in the paragraph are included in this question, but that does not change the order in which they appear. Make sure you number them from 1 to 4, using 1 for the first one. Here's another question asking you to number 4 events according to the order in which they took place. This question has to do with the passage on pizza we looked at earlier. Based on what we have seen earlier, the third statement, pizza was invented, is the first event that happened, and the last statement, pizza spread around the world, corresponds to the third event we have labeled earlier. The other sentence, some Italians moved to America, refers to the phrase, immigrants took it to America, and Peking duck was mentioned as one of the local toppings added to pizza when it was spread around the world into different cultures. So here is the correct way to answer this question. When you are checking the answers at the end of the exam, it is a good idea to read through the answers from 1 to 4 to make sure the numbers you put down correspond to the order of events that you have decided on. Now, it is your turn to try using this reading skill to answer some questions. Use your newly learnt skills on this text and see how quickly you can answer the questions below.